All right, good morning, Toastmasters, after a long delay. In keeping with John's topic of success, I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of having written goals. So this is something that's very important to me. I spent 27 years in corporate banks and never had goals for myself. I always had goals that were passed down to me by the boss, but I never had anything for myself. And I think it's hurt me professionally. It's hurt me personally, and I now have goals. And so I'm kind of, this is a campaign I'm doing with, especially with young kids, especially with my kids, to get them to have goals. So let's dig right in. This is a formula I love. Have equals be times do. Does anybody have a sense as to what that means? Any ideas? Have equals be times do. What is that saying? Go ahead, yes.
You've got to have the character, and then you've got to be willing to take action.
Yep, that's part of it, absolutely. Be times do equals your have. Your have is, what is it that you want? What's your vision? How many of us have visions of where we want to go, goals? Are they written down? Anita's is written down. Anybody else have written down goals? Yours are written down as well. Yours are written down as well. Very good. The rest of you either don't have goals or you have goals and they're not written down. Do you ever notice people that seem like they're running constantly? They're always busy, but they never seem to get anything done. Why do you suppose that is? Any ideas? I think, Mark?
I think they're reacting. They're in a reaction. They're not. They're doing what's asked of them immediately instead of doing what's important to them.
Right. And so how do they define important? How do they know what's important?
By their goals. If they have a goal, then it's important.
So if they don't have goals, they don't know what's important in their life.
Correct.
So they're in constant react mode. Any single input they have, they go off and do. They get an email from somebody, they go and do it. They get a phone mail, voicemail, they go and do it. They don't know what's important to them because they don't have goals. So having goals is critically important for us to have direction, where we want to go. It's a vision. What's your vision for what you want to achieve out of life? How do you define your success? So have, critically important. So there was a study done. There was a study done by Harvard University in 1978. It looked at its MBAs, graduating class of MBAs coming out of Harvard, and they asked them about the clarity of their goals. What percent of people do you suppose are on that bottom tier? People that didn't have any goals whatsoever. Now remember, coming out of Harvard MBA, how many people? What percent of the people do you think were in that lower tier?
I would say 84.
84.
Yeah, you're all right in the ballpark. It's 84%. 84% of Harvard grads coming out of MBA, they spent all this money to go to school, and they didn't have a goal. They didn't have any goals. So if that's the case with Harvard MBAs, what do you suppose is the case with the American population as a whole? It's got to be higher than that. What percent of people do you suppose of those graduates had goals but were written in their head? Were in their head, not written down.
12%.
Yeah, it's 13%. So that says that only 3% of those grads had written goals. Now the really interesting thing is that 10 years later, they went back and they asked them about success. And they found that the group that had the second tier, that had goals, but they were written down, earned twice as much as the people on the bottom tier. But the amazing thing is that the people in the top tier, the 3%, earned 10 times more than anybody else. So it doesn't matter if you're interested in if your goal is to earn money, but I think this demonstrates success. So I look at this and I say those top tier were 10 times more successful than anybody else. And why is that? They're all coming out of the same school. They presumably all have the same demographic backgrounds. Why? Why the difference?
Personality.
Personality could be. I think the big thing is they had the written goals. Their goals were written down. They looked at them. They knew where they wanted to go. And they had focus. They had direction. The others, the people that had them but in their head, I remembered it on Monday. Next Monday, oh yeah, that's right, I got to do that. I got a goal. 3 months from now, I'll remember it again. But the people that had it written down, they looked at it daily. So if that's the case, why don't all of us have written goals? Well, I think there are a couple factors. One is fear. We're afraid to have goals because we're afraid we're not going to make our goal. And so we have those little limiting beliefs in our head that say, oh, you can't do that. You'll never do that. You know, why would you want to do that? You're not qualified. You get offered a new job, a great opportunity for you. Oh, you're unqualified. You'll never do that. You know, people will laugh. It's all those self-limiting beliefs that we have that tend to say, all right, well, if I'm going to have a goal, I'm going to really make it a low goal because I don't want to fail at it. And so why do we think that way? Why don't we think about, this is a great opportunity. I can take advantage of something really cool. But we don't. We have fear. And fear, in my mind, stands for false expectations appearing real. So that's something we've got to get rid of. We've talked about goal setting direction. If you don't have, to Mark's point, if you don't have a goal, how do you know what's important? You don't. So we've got to set goals. We've got to have written goals. All right, so there we are. B equals your do times have. Sorry, have equals B times do. You've got to have goals in order to succeed. I've handed out to each one of you a little sheet of paper. I meant to get index cards, but I came off this morning without them. What I'd love for you to do is to think about what's the one thing that you want to accomplish in the next 10 years and put it on that card. Write it down on that card, and for the next 30 days, I want you to look at that card at least twice a day. And I don't want you to think about why you can't do that. I want you to think about how you're going to do that. You can't say, oh, you can't do that. That's not allowed. If those negative thoughts creep into your head, you've got to go back and start the 30-day count all over again. So that's why I think having goals is critically important. Thanks so much.
All right.